Poem The Kite, written by Harry Behan, Honeysuckle NCERT text, CBSE Class 6. Now, talking about Harry Behan. Harry Behan was an American screenwriter and children's author. He was born on 24th September 1898, Arizona, United States. He was involved in writing scenes and continuities for a number of screenplays, including the war film The Big Parade in 1925 and Hell's Angel. He graduated from Harvard University in 1922 and was also a part of Stanford University for his higher education. His spouse's name was Alice Lawrence and his children were Peter Behan, Pamela Behan and Prescott Behan. He died on 6th September 1973, Greenwich, United States. Poem The Kite. How bright on the blue is a kite when it's new. With a dive and a dip, it snaps its tail, then soars like a ship with only a sail. Now, talking about the first two lines, the author is saying that how new the kite looks when it is in the bright blue sky. And then the next two lines speak something about the kite, how it dives as well as dips, and it snaps its tail. Snaps its tails means it just flaps its tail, and it dives and dip down and make us to have fun and enjoy itself. Then again it soars like a ship with only a sail. Just with a sail it soars high, just like a ship with a sail. Now here the kite's soaring means going up in the sky is being compared to that of the ship which sails on the water, especially in the wave when it goes up and down. The same way the kite soars up and down. As over tides of wind it rides, climb to the crest of a gust and the pull, then seems to rest as wind falls. Now in these two lines, as over tides of wind it rides, it means that here already the author is comparing the sail of the kite with that of the ship. As over tides, as the ship sails over the tides, the same way the kite sails in the wind. That is what the author here is describing. Climbs to the crest of a gust and a pull. Climbs to the crest means, crest here is top. Of a gust and a pull means, gust means flow of the air. It climbs to the top with that of the flow of the air and again pulls up. Then seems to rest as windfall. As the wind comes to a standstill, what happened? Again the kite comes to rest. When string goes slack, you wind it back and run until a new breeze blow and its wing fill and up it goes. Now here the author is saying when strings get loosened up, you wind yourself back and run until a new breeze blows you back up to the sky and its wing fill you up and again you become lively and start moving up and up. How bright on the blue is a kite when it's new. Now here again the author is saying that the kite looks new when it is in the bright blue sky. So this is the explanation he gives about the kite. Now coming to the next is, but a redder thing you never will see. But a redder thing you never will see when it flaps on a string in the top of a tree. Now here the author is saying that you will never see a torn or a worn out kite when it flaps on a string, especially when it is on the top of the tree falling down, but it will not be seen to be torn or worn out. It will be still very lively as well as very active kite. That is what he describes something about the kite. Now that was the explanation of the poem, and now coming to the summary of the poem, The Kite. Now talking about the poem Kite. The Kite is a short melodious poem by Harry Behan. It is based on how the kite flies in the air and the magic look it bears when it flies. The poet begins with an exclamation of how bright a new kite looks against the blue sky when it plunges and snaps its tail. The poet uses the simile like ship to compare its gliding motion, and it looks if it is sailing over the sea waves during the high tide. As the kite flies high up with the wind, it tugs hard at its thread, and like humans, it is tired out. It then halts to rest. When the kite has to be wound back till a new wind fills it high and uplifts it. But the kite loses its splendor when its string gets tangled in the treetop. It then becomes foppish and loses all its grandeur. Thus ends the journey of the kite. Now coming to the question answers of the lesson. Why is the kite compared to the ship? The kite is compared to the ship because as the ship sails in the tide of the sea, in a similar way the kite sails in the tide of air, moving up and down with the gust of the wind. When does the kite becomes a regular thing? The kite becomes a regular thing when it flaps on a string in the top of the tree. In this poem Kite, the figure of speech has been used, and that is the simile. When we speak about simile, it is a figure of speech in which two things is compared using the words as, like, or so. So here in the line, then soars like a ship. So here the kite is kite just go high just like a ship with only a sail, means just a ride. So here figure of speech, when we say it is a phrase or word having different meaning than its literal meaning, and it is used to beautify the poetry. Page number 28, exercise second. Read these lines from the poem. Then soars like a ship with only a sail. Here some simile has been used. So here some similes are being given. You have to complete it. He runs like a leopard or a deer. He eats like an elephant. She sings like a nightingale. It shines like a star. It flies like a bird. So these are some similes used here. Coming to the first question here, the list out the action words in the poem. Dive, dip, snap. You can write soar, climb, rest, run, blow, goes, flaps, etc. The rhyme scheme pattern which has been used in this poem is A, B, C, B, C. So this is the rhyme scheme which has been used in the poem. Now that's the end of the lesson, The Kite. Thank you.